Hello everyone, welcome to DEEPSIGHT. Let us take you on a journey through historical time and space to explore the profound connotations of ancient civilizations. In this issue, let us continue the content of the previous Ostrogothic issue and introduce to you another branch of the Germanic people, the Vandals. The Vandals, like the Goths we introduced earlier, are also a branch of the ancient Germanic tribe. They followed in the footsteps of the Visigoths, and their biggest imprint on history was the sack of Rome and left it to the world. A desolate Roman ruin, they also entered the Iberian Peninsula and fought their way from Spain into North Africa. Finally, with Carthage as the center, they established their own kingdom in North Africa, the Vandal Kingdom. The name of the beautiful province of Spain today, Andalusia, comes from the name given to the land of the Vandals by the Muslim Moors in North Africa. The name of the Vandals originally means wanderers. The earliest trace of their presence today can be traced back to the first half of the 2nd century BC. They are believed to have migrated from the Baltic Sea coast to Silesia in today's southwestern Poland area. In the following hundreds of years, they were attached to other powerful tribal groups and worked for the Goths or Macaomen. In 72 BC, some Vandals followed the Swabian king Ariovistus to invade Gaul. These people were completely annihilated by Caesar, who led an expedition to Gaul in 58 BC. Later, the Vandals also followed the leader of the Germanic tribes, King Marpad, to participate in the West Germanic Civil War. Although the Macaoman kingdom gradually declined after the war, the Vandals embarked on the road to independence. In the 2nd century, 2 or 3 distinct Vandal peoples came to the attention of Roman authors, the Silingi, the Hasdingi, and possibly the Lacringi, who appear together with the Hasdingi. Only the Silingi had been mentioned in early Roman works and are associated with Silesia. This place they lived is mostly mountains, rivers, and forests, with neither plains nor inland areas. The Vandals and other East Germanic peoples do not rely on herding and fishing for their livelihoods. Instead, they are good at handicrafts, agriculture, and hunting. Trade activities between the early Germanic peoples were very developed. In the Vistula River delta controlled by the Gepids, there were islands rich in amber. Businessmen from all directions would visit this place, which gradually became a commodity distribution center for the entire Northeast Europe. The Vandals people become regular visitors here. Archaeological excavations have confirmed that their exquisitely crafted pottery was sold as far away as Denmark's Jutland Peninsula. Various leather products, stone carvings, wood carvings, and metal jewelry were sold everywhere, and their designs had a strong Celtic style, which should have come from their experience of living in Gaul. From 1 to 3 AD, the Vandals lived on both sides of the middle reaches of the Oder River for 200 years. In 335 AD, they became allies of the Roman Empire and subsequently moved into Pannonia. Like almost all Germanic tribes, the Huns in the early 5th century AD made them flee for their lives in order to survive, which was the Great National Migration. They took a different escape route from the Goths. Together with the Alans, who were not Germanic, they crossed the Rhine River and swarmed into Gaul. In order to survive, as refugees, they also learned the same plundering methods as the Huns. They quickly gained a reputation as thieves and marauders. The Vandals moved southward from today's France. In 409 AD, they crossed the Pyrenees and occupied most of the western and southern parts of the Spanish peninsula. Then, they encountered the Visigoths here who had robbed Rome all the way from Italy. Please refer to our previous 2 videos for this part. As a result, the powerful Visigoths quickly captured most of Spain. The Vandals were forced to flee to the southern tip of the Spanish peninsula and to the northwest. In 428 AD, Vandal Genseric ascended to the throne. He was a great figure in Vandal history. A year later, he decided to burn everything and abandon Spain to create new territories. He led all 80,000 Vandals and Alans across the Strait of Gibraltar and rushed into North Africa. After 10 years of campaign, in 439 AD, he captured Carthage, the capital of Rome in North Africa. Genseric decided to make his capital here and establish the Vandal kingdom. The fall of Carthage dealt a fatal blow to the declining Western Roman Empire, directly cutting off Rome's financial sources from Africa. In 442 AD, the Roman Empire was forced to recognize the Vandal kingdom's dominance over most of North Africa. Then the Vandals were not satisfied. After establishing the Vandal kingdom, they continued to expand their territory in North Africa. The most glorious moment in Vandal history occurred in AD 455. In this year, the Roman Emperor Valentinian III, who had declined to the extreme, was assassinated. One theory is that the assassination was by Aetius men. Another theory is that he was seduced by Petronius, a senator who was seeking great power. Maximus plots an assassination. As the Roman emperor, Valentinian III only did one more thing during his reign than Theodosius II, the Eastern Roman emperor who had done nothing in his life, which was to kill the only person in the Western Roman Empire who had the ability to fight against the barbarians, General Aetius. Less than 2 months after Petronius took office as Emperor of Western Rome, the Vandals, led by their leader Genseric, approached the city of Rome from the sea in the direction of North Africa. As early as 429 AD, Genseric took advantage of the disagreement between Bonifacius, the governor of North Africa, and Rome, and led 100,000 Vandals and Alans to invade North Africa. At this time, the Eastern and Western Roman Empire was in internal and external troubles, and they had no time to take care of North Africa, allowing the Vandals to take the opportunity to fully control the North African territory, including Carthage. Afterwards, Genseric took control of the Mediterranean and continued to harass and plunder Italian cities along the Mediterranean. Seeing that the empire had once again cut off its limbs and civil strife arose again, Genseric immediately took advantage of the chaos in Rome and led the huge Vandal fleet to begin a northward expedition across the sea, aiming at the city of Rome, the capital of Western Rome. Their fleet had already occupied Sardinia, Sicily, and other major Mediterranean islands, becoming the new Mediterranean overlord. This time, he directly commanded his tribe to land at Ostia, the outer port of Rome. The barbarians once again invaded the city, and the city of Rome fell into panic. Less than 3 months after taking the throne, Petronius, who had no military power and was unpopular, was killed. The Vandals captured Rome without any difficulty. At this time, Rome had already fully converted to Christianity. Bishop Leo, who was revered as Pope, already enjoyed supreme status throughout the church. As a religious leader, he once met in person with the ferocious Hun Attila and successfully prevented Attila from conquering Rome and saved Rome from catastrophe. At this time, he had to come forward to negotiate with Genseric again, hoping that civilized Rome could once again face barbarism and survive. Unfortunately, Pope Leo could only protect the Catholic Church from being violated this time. The clergy would not be taken hostage, but the ancient city of Rome was not saved. In June 455 AD, the second largest Roman catastrophe occurred in history. Compared with the first time the Visigoth Alaric captured Rome in 410 AD and looted it for 3 days, there was no resistance in Rome this time. The Vandals spent a full 14 days patiently and meticulously, calmly and professionally. They demolished and evacuated the entire city of Rome. They not only looted all the gold, silver, and jewelry, but also carefully dismantled and moved everything that seemed valuable, such as the bronze bridge railings, exquisite stone door frames, and door leaves. Get on the ship and transport it back to Vandal. If you have been to Rome today and visited the remains of Roman ruins, you will feel the sadness of history. This is a great work of the history of the decline and fall of Rome left to the world by the Vandals. The poor Romans also went from being well-dressed and pampered upper-class people to becoming lambs tied in a string with hemp ropes, driven by the barbaric Vandals in exchange for property. Of course, from another perspective, although the Vandals looted Rome thoroughly and cleanly, and the property losses were much heavier, they did not kill the Romans wantonly, showing another picture of being relatively humane and charitable gentlemen, seeking wealth without harming people's lives. As long as they hand over the property, their lives can be saved. Therefore, it did not cause as big a shock to the Roman world as the first sacking of the Visigoths. In 455 AD, the Roman Empire was already a world riddled with holes, and the Romans had long lost their former self-esteem and pride. They are numb and unresponsive to various terrible consequences. The agreement between Pope Leo and the Vandals only ensured that the barbarians would not kill those who did not resist after entering the city. Therefore, the second Roman catastrophe had significantly fewer casualties than the first. Another sad scene is unimaginable. The Vandals' carpet-like demolition of Rome, as an alternative kind of looting, was carried out with the help of countless Roman professionals. A large amount of gold and silver jewelry, the demolished gold-inlaid roofs, sculptures, and other property were all transported to the ship by the Romans themselves to help the barbarians. The glory of Caesar Augustus and the Trajan era were all lost in the desire to survive. After the Vandals robbed Rome and made it worthless, they took away a large number of Romans. Their purpose was very simple and direct, asking for ransom. These hostages consisted of various high-level people, including the concubines of Emperor Valentinian. With 2 daughters, one of the princesses was later arranged by Genseric to marry his own son, and the Vandals also became relatives of the Roman emperor. The Western Roman Empire finally fell in 476 AD, 20 years after the death of Valentinian III and the Second Roman Catastrophe. During these 20 years, a total of 9 emperors appeared in Western Rome, until the Goths completely wiped them off the map of the earth. The Vandals' capture of Rome was not only a physical destruction of the city, but also a major blow to the majesty of the Roman Empire. The city of Rome was regarded as a symbol of invincibility. Genseric's successful capture of the city of Rome also marked the further decline of the authority of the Western Roman Empire. Since then, the name of the Vandals has become synonymous with the wanton destruction and desecration of sacred objects in the world, that is, vandalism. However, Vandal, a robber in the eyes of the world, was a glorious symbol in the hearts of the people, and Genseric's prestige reached the pinnacle of his personal kingdom rule. As king of the Vandals and Alans, he led his people to prosperity. He successfully made the Vandal kingdom a powerful power in the Mediterranean. The Vandal navy ran rampant in the Mediterranean, posing a huge threat to Roman routes and rule. Genseric ruled the Vandal kingdom for 49 years until his death in 477 AD. In an era without modern medical conditions, he lived to be 88 years old. Among ancient emperors, this was a rare longevity. But after his death, the kingdom gradually declined. Since Genseric's descendants did not inherit his political and military talents, the Vandal kingdom soon began to decline. The Vandal nobles confiscated the land of the Roman landowners and became feudal landowners. During the reign of Genseric, the Vandals believed in the Arian sect of Christianity and persecuted the Roman Church, and the church property was confiscated. His son Huneric reigned from 477 to 484 AD, and during his reign the persecution of the Roman Church intensified. At the end of the kingdom, the Berbers rose up and occupied southern Numidia and Mauritania. Childeric, the son of Huneric, began to succumb to Byzantium externally and suppressed the Berbers internally, and was eventually overthrown by the army. In 533 AD, the Vandal kingdom came to an end, and Justinian I, the great monarch of the Byzantine Empire, resolutely launched a war of conquest over the western Mediterranean world. Justinian set the first target of attack in the western Mediterranean region on the Vandals centered on Carthage. In the eyes of Justinian, it was his responsibility to become a great monarch to restore the glory of Rome and eliminate the barbarian invasion of the empire. Barbarians were the earliest name the ancient Greeks used for non-Greek speaking peoples. In their eyes, even the Romans were actually barbarians. Of course, when the Romans began to rule, Rome began to regard itself as civilized people and regarded non-Roman ethnic groups as barbarians. They are also called barbarians. By the time of the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, barbarians became synonymous with the backward barbarian peoples surrounding the Byzantine Empire. At that time, the territory of the Byzantine Empire included the Balkan Peninsula south of the Danube River, the Black Sea region from the Crimean Peninsula to the eastern coast of the Black Sea, Asia Minor, and the eastern coast of the Mediterranean from the Caucasus through the upper reaches of the Mesopotamia to the west of the Gulf of Aqaba, and Egypt north of present-day Aswan, and North Africa east of present-day Gulf of Sirte. Among the various Germanic tribes that appeared around the territory of the Byzantine Empire, the largest major tribal groups were the Franks who occupied the Gaul province of the former Roman Empire, the Vandals who occupied the Carthage region of North Africa, and the Vandals who controlled central Italy and the eastern and western Goths in the north. These Germanic groups became increasingly powerful and became the main obstacle for the great emperor of the Byzantine Empire, Justinian, to achieve his political goals. Although the Vandal kingdom had begun to decline at this time, they still crossed the sea and invaded southern Italy many times. directly harming the Byzantine Empire's commercial interests in the Western Mediterranean. In the early 5th century, the Byzantine army made 2 expeditions to the Vandal kingdom, both of which ended in failure. They also had to admit the Vandal occupation of North Africa. These were all huge humiliations for the Eastern Roman Empire. Restoring control of the Western Roman region was an important step for Justinian to establish his status. Therefore, after Justinian came to the throne, the Vandals were regarded as the #1 enemy of the empire. The interests of the Byzantine Empire in the Western Mediterranean could not tolerate the destruction and plunder of the Vandals. The wealthy North Africa must return to the territory of Rome. Dear friends, in a short period of time, we have moved forward with the wheel of history, side by side through those moments where history has lingered. It allows us to truly experience what true calmness is and makes us more upright and strong. Compared with any wave in history, what we are experiencing today is just like a tiny speck of dust falling into the Milky Way. This is the content of our historical exploration in this issue. In the next issue, we will continue to introduce you to the war between the Vandals and Rome and the final fate of the Vandals. Thank you for watching and accompanying. I am your time journey navigator, Stardust. Let us gain insight into the distant past and foresee a bright future together. See you next time.